Sometimes a simple taxi ride can turn into your worst nightmare. Imagine the city at night. The streets are quiet, the neon signs flicker like dying embers, and the rain slicks the asphalt, turning the road into a black mirror. It is on a night like this that a fare can lead you somewhere you never intended to go. This is a story about a journey that began in the back of a cab but ended in the darkest corners of the human mind. The engine hums, the wipers keep a steady beat, and a sense of dread hangs in the air, thick as the evening fog. The driver's name was Hiroshi. To his co-workers, he was an enigma, a man who seemed to live in his own private world of fear. While other drivers went home after their shifts, Hiroshi stayed in his cab. He'd park it in forgotten alleyways, trying to sleep amidst a fortress of talismans and paper charms that he'd plastered all over the interior. His rearview mirror was covered in stickers, obscuring whatever might be looking back at him. He clutched a worn-out amulet, its origins a mystery to everyone but him. His colleagues would see him muttering to himself, whispering about bad luck following him, and shadows that cling. They thought he was just eccentric, another strange character in a city full of them. But Hiroshi wasn't just eccentric. He was hiding from something, or someone. One rainy Tuesday night, a woman flagged him down. She was a tourist, her name Elena. She seemed perfectly ordinary, polite even, with a gentle smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. As she settled into the back seat, a strange feeling washed over Hiroshi. A chill that had nothing to do with the rain outside. He felt her eyes on him, on the charms, on the covered mirror. She started asking questions, her voice soft but probing. She wanted to know about local legends, about the city's hidden ghosts. Hiroshi deflected, his answers short, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. He knew this part of town wasn't on any tourist map. A knot of dread tightened in his stomach. He made a decision. He would take a shortcut, one that led through the desolate industrial heart of the city, toward the abandoned warehouses by the docks. The city lights began to fade behind them, swallowed by the darkness. As they drove deeper into the industrial maze, the police were already piecing together a disturbing puzzle across town. A string of tourists had vanished without a trace in recent months. The cases were cold, with no witnesses and no leads. Hiroshi's co-workers had noticed his behavior growing more erratic. He was jumpy, constantly glancing over his shoulder, his eyes darting to every shadow. Back in the cab, Elena's gaze fell upon the strange objects scattered on the dashboard. Weathered photographs of people she didn't recognize, symbols she couldn't decipher, and the talismans that seemed to ward off some unseen evil. The only sounds were the steady tick of the meter, the rhythmic thump of the windshield wipers, and a dog barking somewhere far off in the rainy darkness. Every sound seemed to amplify the silence inside the car. Every shadow seemed to hold a secret. The taxi finally pulled up to a large, derelict warehouse, its windows like vacant eyes staring out into the rain. Hiroshi tried to act casual, telling her it was a brief stop, a place he needed to check on, but his hands were trembling. He couldn't hide the anxiety etched on his face. Elena, driven by a mix of curiosity and a growing unease, followed him inside. The air was thick with the smell of damp concrete and decay. As her eyes adjusted to the gloom, she noticed something that made her blood run cold. Pinned to a decaying wall was a photograph, and beneath it, a strange, hand-carved symbol. It was the same symbol from the talismans in Hiroshi's car. Narration whispers that this place holds a history. A violent past that Hiroshi has tried so desperately to bury. He's been here before. He's brought others here. The quiet is broken only by the drip of water from the ceiling. A clock seems to tick somewhere in the darkness. Elena took a step back, her breath catching in her throat. Her foot knocked over a rusted metal box tucked away in a dark corner. It fell open, spilling its contents onto the floor. Old newspaper clippings, faded and yellow, detailed the disappearances of the tourists, and nestled among them, a small, leather-bound diary. Hiroshi saw it. Pure panic flashed in his eyes. The carefully constructed wall he had built around his secret began to crumble. He lunged, not at her, but for the diary. For a terrifying moment, the air crackled with unspoken violence. His mind was a battleground of guilt and fear. He could silence her, make her another forgotten headline. But the superstitions that had driven him mad now held him captive. A sudden flicker of the lights, a shadow moving in the periphery, a sound like a whisper from just outside the door. It was too much. Overwhelmed, Hiroshi didn't attack. He fled. He scrambled back to his taxi and sped away into the night. leaving Elena standing alone in the warehouse, unharmed but shaken. From that night on, Hiroshi never left his car. The taxi became his world, his prison, and his tomb. He drove endlessly through the city's dark veins, haunted by what he had done and what he had almost done. He started seeing her everywhere. A glimpse of Elena's face in a crowd, her silhouette standing under a streetlight, her whisper carried on the wind. His coworkers watched his final descent into madness. He'd perform obsessive rituals, cleaning his car for hours, arranging and rearranging his charms, his eyes wide with a terror only he could see. He had completely and irrevocably lost his grip on reality. The police eventually found the warehouse. They found the diary Elena had left behind near the docks. Its pages filled with observations about a paranoid taxi driver and the strange symbols she'd seen. But of Elena, there was no sign she was ever in danger. She was just another tourist who had a strange encounter and moved on. The investigation stalled once again. The official report noted Hiroshi's mental instability, but with no evidence of a crime, the case remained open, unsolved. The line between what was real and what Hiroshi had imagined had blurred into nothing. Did his paranoia conjure the haunting, turning an innocent passenger into a specter of his guilt? Or was there truly something malevolent that night, a presence that latched onto his fragile mind? We are left with only questions, drifting like ghosts in the rain-soaked streets. Hiroshi's mind became a permanent, waking nightmare. He was a prisoner of his own guilt, his reality twisted into a horrifying landscape of shadows and whispers. His story serves as a chilling reminder of how fear can become its own monster, more terrifying than any external threat. As you look out at the city at night, at the passing headlights and the reflections in wet puddles, you might hear the distant wail of a siren. You might see a lone taxi driving aimlessly through the empty streets, its driver forever searching for something he can never find, forever running from something he can never escape. Sometimes, the darkest journeys aren't the ones that take you through a city's forgotten corners. They are the ones that lead you deep inside your own mind, to a place from which there is no return. Thank you for listening. If this story sent a chill down your spine, be sure to follow our channel for more tales from the shadows. Stay safe out there.